Hello, boys and girls. Well, I mean, you try and do someone a favour. Have I got a story for you to start with today? We've also got an awful lot of emails, so only a quick story, and then to the emails, okay? So, there I was a couple of nights ago, quietly attending my business, boys and girls. I'd pulled up for work at Bushy's in Hammersmith, which I've mentioned once or twice, as you know, for the karaoke night. Okay, now, I can't park right outside the venue at the Hammersmith place. So what I have to do is park in a side road, put my rucksack on my back and my bag, and off I go, trotting towards the venue. I have to cross two extremely busy roads, but they've both got traffic lights and what have you. So I get to the end of this road. I cross over one road, would push the little button at the traffic lights, waited for the bleeping, bleep, 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 and a little green man appeared in a puff of smoke. Well, he didn't actually appear in a puff of smoke. He appeared on the traffic lights. All right, so I crossed over that road, and then I'm standing at the front of the other road, and there's this old lady crossing the road very, very slowly. The cars are not stopping, they are going round her. But she clearly is not to be fazed and continues on her trip across the road at impulse power. Yes, extremely slowly. Anyway, so I'm watching this old lady. I looked her up and down a bit and I thought, she's not got much. She was a, shall we say, a bag lady. Okay, a bag lady. On her feet were about 25 pairs of socks and a pair of shoes that were completely filled with holes, or boots, whatever they were, I don't know. She also had over her feet various rolls of what looked like sellotape and what are they called? You know those overshoes that you have to put on, for example, if you're in a hospital or something like that? She had a pair of those round her feet as well, which were all like full of holes, and I don't know why she had those on her feet as well. She had 2 or 3 scarves on her head. She had about 5 coats on, and she was walking, pushing a shopping trolley full of rubbish. Well, maybe I shouldn't say rubbish. Probably her home, okay? All sorts of bits and pieces in this shopping trolley. She was bent right over like that. As I'm watching her, I'm aware that there are people all around me as well. They're watching as well. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not someone who very often give to those charities where they walk around shaking tins. And I'll tell you why I don't give to charities. Because I've found quite often that a lot of the money does not go to the charity. Okay? So, I don't know, if you were giving £1 to someone for a certain charity, 75% of it, or whatever, might go in administration fees. And if you have to do a little bit of a search around the internet and look and see who runs certain charities and then how much money they're paid, that's why I rarely give to charities. There is one I particularly give to. I won't say how much, won't say who it... Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's one of the cancer charities. I do give money to them on a standing order, so much per month. That's the only one I really give to. And it's similar with beggars. I never give money to beggars on the street because you see them there, they're sitting there drinking cans of lager. No. Because you know that money's going to go on drugs or drink. Likely to go, or in my opinion, a lot of them spend the money on drink and drugs. And you can't tell who are the ones that are going to spend the money on the food. I mean, I tell you what I have done before. I have gone, if I've seen someone in it and looking, you know, very poorly, I have gone to get them a sandwich. Or maybe if I've, on the rare occasions I go to McDonald's, maybe got an extra cheeseburger and dumped it in their lap on the way past. So back to the other night. So she's continuing. She's now across the road and she's walking very, very slowly to the next traffic light. I looked at her and I thought, I've got more than her. Much more than her. Now, I don't want you to start thinking, oh, what a nice boy you are. Let me get to the point. You will love it. You will absolutely love the end of this story, right? I am trying to get... Stop screaming at your radio sets or TV sets and telling me to get on with it. I am getting it. This is it. There's no more. If you stop shouting at me, get on with it, I will be able to do so. Now shut up for 5 minutes. I looked around again and you know what people are like. Some couples were looking at each other and laughing at the woman. And an immense sense of sorrow came over me. And I did something that I very, very rarely do. I put my hand in my pocket and pulled some money out. Don't know why. Just felt like doing it. So I walked over to the woman. Excuse me, love. And she went mad and started hitting me. So the lesson there is, don't help people less fortunate than yourself. She went mad. She started whacking me like this with her hand on the chest. It was hard, but it was like that, it was. Thank you, God. You know, go over to help someone, give them something, and that's the reaction I got. And I wasn't, you know when someone's coming up to you in a threatening way, I was very, very gentle. I went over, I said, excuse me, love, go, and she was, oh, the mouth on her, dear. The swearing that came out of your mouth. Never again. I tell you that, never again. She was hitting me really hard. And of course, you know, people looking at, of course, loads of people around, they must have thought I was attacking her or something like that, so I just walked off. I walked off, and I mean, there's no helping some people, is there? And that is true. That happened on Monday in Hammersmith, just outside Belushi's bar. Funny thing is, when I went into the bar, I was telling one of the bar staff in there, it was Spud actually, Liam. And he said, that's, and he told me a name. I said, oh, do you know who it is? He said, is she little and pushing a trolley? I said, that's the one. Yeah, she lives in a car, apparently. All day long, she sits in the tube station shouting obscenities at people as they walk past and laughing to herself. Well, I mean, I don't care what people, you know, whether they can do that or not. But when you go over to help someone, I certainly don't expect that. I'm sure I've got bruises on my chest. It's outrageous. So, never mind, I put my money back in my pocket and walked on. So there we are. I wanted to share that with you. Please be careful if you try and go and help someone. I mean, if it had been a drug addict, they might have got a blooming needle out or something like that and shoved it in my leg, wouldn't they? It's true. All right. Okay, then. Now, there's an email address to the show. Chris@UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk is the email address. Chris@UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. Remember I had trouble with the sound on the video last week? Well, you wouldn't have noticed it because I fixed it after I'd recorded it. If you're wondering what that was, a piece of equipment has failed. It sits up there on the shelf, so I'm just waiting for a new piece of equipment. You won't even notice it. It makes a difference to the way I record the show. So that's what was wrong, if you were wondering. I know we have some technical people like to know what's going on. James Dean has suggested, because I want to put something up where the mirror ball is for the Christmas shows, the Christmas period, and James Dean has suggested a wreath. So we might put a Christmas wreath up there, which will turn round slowly. Any other suggestions? Let us know, okay? Chris@UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. And I wanted to know, where is Wayne Anonymous? He seems to have disappeared. Wayne Anonymous, are you still there? I hate it when people disappear, but I'm afraid they do. People do disappear. When you've been doing something a long time, they just, and you don't hear from them. I hope I'm going to hear from you again, Wayne. You're very good, but you're writing your letters and what have you. Do let us know. Wayne Anonymous, where are you, sir? Okay. Off we go then to the emails. First of all, it's a man in Iceland. Sorry you've had a while waiting for this one to come up, Robert, but we've been a little bit busy with the emails. Who says, "Hi Chris, just thought I'd drop you a line to see how things are with you down in the softy southlands of my youth, i.e. the United Kingdom." Very well, thank you, Robert. Except, you remember I was telling you I got that ulcer on my tongue? Well, once again, I've been back to the dentist. And once again, he's kind of, not filed, but smoothed all the teeth on the inside of my mouth, roughly where the ulcer is, because he thought that it might have been catching somewhere. And although we couldn't, he said, "Is there anything sharp in your mouth?" I said, "I don't think so." I said, "But this little ulcer just won't go." So he smoothed it all down again, another 20 quid. Okay, see you. He said, "Don't leave it so long this time. If it's still bothering you, come back in a couple of weeks." And in fact, we've made an appointment for, I think, 3 weeks' time, because I've got a check-up then anyway. So where that was a week ago, it's still there. Not only that, but I've now got another one come up on the other side, roughly in the same place. And it's not on my gums, it's actually it's kind of underneath the tongue, right? In fact, the new one over here, see, I haven't put anything on. I don't like to put stuff on and take pills and all that. I like to try and let things mend themselves, even though sometimes it does take a lot longer. I personally think that the body is better to try and mend itself. But I've got another one come up there, and I've had this sore throat. When I say sore throat, not hurting me while I talk to you, but when I swallow, like that. I can feel that going down. Sometimes it's worse than at other times. So I think I've got something going on in my mouth there. So I've made another appointment for the doctor. And I go, not tomorrow, the day after. So I'll let you know how that goes. Thanks for asking, Robert. But, it's starting to bother me now. That ulcer on that side, underneath there, it feels to me like it's a little bit better. But that's been there now for about 6-8 weeks. And it's not going. So I'm a little bit worried. I don't know what causes ulcers in the mouth. Some people say I'm run down. Haven't had a holiday for a couple of years. Only because I don't want to. I find going on holiday is a blooming inconvenience. I really do. It stops you doing everything you usually do. Mind you, that is the whole point of it, isn't it? You see, I hate the travelling as well, Robert. I can't stand mucking about at airports, not even in business class for an hour. It's just so boring, and airports are so inefficient. I hate it. I hate the travelling. I've been some wonderful places in the world. Australia, my favourite, of course. I've been to Barbados, St. Lucia, France, Italy, America, different places in America. But I hate the getting there, and I just hate it. And that's why, really, I haven't been away. That's why in the last couple of weeks, the only visits I've done are to my sisters. Kind, lovely people are always emailing in the show and says, "Oh, if you come here, we'd love to meet you, come and visit, come and stay in our place." And that's very, very, very kind. I wouldn't actually impose on anyone like that. I have to, book into a hotel and that's it. But it's the getting there. I hate it so much. I really do. And that's why I haven't had a holiday. Maybe I need that. I don't know. A couple of days, and my friend Richard in London was saying, a couple of days at your sister, or even a week at your sister's, is not a holiday. And really it isn't, I suppose, I don't know. Robert says, up here on the roof of the world, which is Iceland, Robert's in Iceland. He owes everyone money at the moment, I'm afraid. Yeah. I mean, we see all these stories about Iceland and the bank going bust, and that now they're all poor and owing money all over the place. But it's actually Robert. It's not the whole of Iceland. Robert is the man you want. I will be giving his email address out later, and if you send him your bank details, he'd be glad to transfer a few Icelandic sardines into your accounts, because there's no money. It's going to have to be paid with fish. Okay. Up here on the roof of the world, it's snow, and yes, more snow. Makes one feel like a damn penguin. And yes, I know where they come from, the south and not the north. And when did you suddenly become an expert? Well, I didn't. I don't know where penguins come from. I thought they came from eggs. Didn't they? Oh, incidentally, I meant to tell you, I noticed there was a news story on the BBC News 24 a couple of days ago, and apparently some clinic is very, very short of eggs. Okay? So, I mean, I have, you know, I like to help people. This clinic is short of eggs for intravenous, I don't know what it is, dear. So, the goodness of my heart, I went straight down to Tesco's, bought a dozen eggs, large, and sent them straight round to the clinic. You see, I'm all heart, me. I'm all heart. Send those eggs to your local clinic immediately. It doesn't cost a lot. God knows what they're going to do with them. Robert says, life moves on a pace up here, and I feel the call of the ski slopes once again. Oh, my God, rather you than me. Oh, what is it that makes you mad people want to go hurtling down a mountain in freezing cold temperatures over that vile stuff called snow that's nasty and cold and gets everywhere? Oh, I hate it. I don't know what I hate more, really. Snow and the cold or travelling on airplanes. I can't decide. He says, the urge to launch myself down the side of some steep mountain. Now, I am pretty good at the going down the hill at silly speed. I have a problem with stopping at the bottom. Oh, I know what you mean. Years ago, I used to go ice skating. I was all right. I could stand up and go round them. I could never stop. I usually end up crashing into the barrier. I'm currently using the method of finding a large, chubby person to crash into. Oh, I'll send James Dean over. No problem there at all. James, he'd be glad of a free holiday. If you just pay for... Oh, hang on a minute. You got no money, have you? Oh, well, you won't be able to do that. What you could do... Actually, what you could do is send a shawl of fish over to Manchester, where James Dean lives, tie them all up together, chuck him on top of the fish, and maybe they could bring him across to Iceland. Although I don't know if he'd float or not, to be honest. Robert says, got into a slight diplomatic incident the other day when I crashed into a large Italian woman. I bounced off like a pinball and shot straight into the ski lodge bar with a huge bang, flew over the top of the bar and came to rest right up against the case of rather acceptable red wine. 2 hours later, and by the subject of some abuse, I was thrown out of the bar by the owner. I tried saying I was English and that they owed me this. This seemed to have the effect of causing more foul language and suggestions as to what I could do with a bottle opener. Cheek! Do be careful, dear. Still, it would seem that we have sorted out the problems between Brownie and this darling and our chap in Iceland. Now, perhaps you, and I mean you, Chris and Susan, can stop sending those letters demanding payments. You are not getting your mitts on my pennies, so there. I have hidden them under a rock. Darn trouble is, though, that I have ruddy well forgotten which rock I hid the money under. Oh, I get so confused. I've started taking omega-3 in the mornings to help with my memory. What does that do, then? Oh, I don't believe all that. Is that fish oil, isn't it? Omega-3? I don't know. I can't remember where I put the bottle now. And to think it was only the other day that I was being compared to James Bond. Time has not been kind. There we are, from Bob the Viking in Iceland. Have they done some sort of deal then? Have we got our money back now? Please don't tie all our money up like that. We get very upset here in the UK. If you don't mind, thank you. Oh, by the way, Robert, I don't know if you're interested in purchasing a chain of shops, but Woolworths is up for sale. Yeah, it's only £1 apparently, but you have to take on you can buy Woolworths for £1. Dear me. It's all going terribly. MFI? It's a bit like a cheap version of IKEA, MFI. They've been around here for years. They're in trouble as well. No one's buying flat pack furniture. Well, MFI and IKEA, I've got news for you. No one ever wanted flat pack furniture. You bought that rubbish out to save you space and paying people to put it together. We hate it. I hate flat pack furniture. Poor old Ross P in Norwich. He's had a terrible time putting together a table. We don't want to put these blooming things together. Pay someone to do it, you tight-fisted so-and-sos. God, oh, I hate it. Don't you hate it? Bringing back that packet and screws and all over the living room carpet. Oh, dear. We never wanted it in the first place. Dear me. Thank you, Bob. I've read your email out now at last, so you can send another one in, all right? Oh, thank you very much to Sue. Our friend Sue, who I was singing Get a Little Sand Between Your Toes to, Sue Hill, who writes and sends me a virtual Christmas card. And it's very clever, actually. I will put it on this United Kingdom talk. Now, what's the date of this one? 1 minute, let me check my date. 1 minute. Oh, yeah, 6th, isn't it? Saturday, the 6th of September. Okay, if you look at the show on, I'll tell you where to go, unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, all right? unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. If you look at the show that says Saturday the 6th of December, you'll see a little picture of me dressed as Santa Claus. Yes, that Sue and Martin have very, very cleverly put together for me. So thank you two. It's very kind. My first virtual Christmas card has come from Sue and Martin as a payment for me singing the song, I think. Thank you very much, you two. Don't forget, if you want to find that, go to the main United Kingdom Talk website, unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, and look for the show Saturday the 6th of December. And there'll be a picture of me and a little Santa Claus outfit. Thank you. All right, let's say hello now to Yannick in Germany. Hello, Yannick, or Yannick from Germany. I don't think he's actually in Germany at the moment. I'm not sure if he is. Are you in Germany at the moment now? Yannick has become Facebook friends with my little nephew, Jimmy Butler. And the reason that they became Facebook friends, he was looking through my friends and he found my nephew, Jimmy, and they're both into Chelsea football team. So they discuss Chelsea. I mean, don't ask me what it's all about, all this football stuff. I haven't got a clue. And talking of football, oh dear, I've got to tell you this one. It was pandemonium in Bushy's on Monday for the karaoke. Now, Bushy's is also a sports bar, and they show football matches. Well, on Monday, there happened to be a football match on, which didn't finish until 9:45. Okay? So I'm walking in there. This pub is full of blokes sitting there, glued to the three, I think they got 3 or 4 very large LCD television screens on the wall. Karaoke is supposed to start at 9 o'clock. So I started setting up. It's not really a problem. I can work around people while I'm setting it all up. That's all right. Gets to about 9:45. I went down to see the manager, Rob, and said, what should we do? He says, I think we'll just start. I said, OK, well, let's look for a break. Let's wait until the half time and we'll start there and see if we can carry on. Well, so the break came and it wasn't too much of a problem. So I made an announcement. Good evening, welcome to the Bushy's. These blokes looked up at me. There was 2 karaoke singers in so far. These blokes all sitting there, and there was quite a lot of them, I would say 60 or 70 of them in there. Looked at me as if I was from another planet, dear. I don't know why that is. So it wasn't too much of a problem. We turned the music up. We turned the commentary off on the screens because we had the commentary playing as well through the speakers for the football match. Didn't seem to be a problem. As soon as the football match restarted, no one mentioned to me, but they started screaming at the bar staff to turn the commentary on. And in the end, cut a long story short, we had to go back to the football and wait for that to finish before we could start the karaoke, which in turn, unfortunately, annoyed the 3 karaoke people that were there. So, I mean, you couldn't. It was a no-win situation, really. But some of the boys in there, and they weren't the usual crowd that I've known in there. They were much older. There were just seemed to be men in there to watch the football, and they were getting quite aggressive with the bar staff. So the manager and I decided, oh well, let's just let it go for half an hour. So in future, I think when they have a football match in there, what we're going to do is wait till the football finishes and then start sort of immediately after, because it's not, quite honestly, it's not worth the hassle. It was pandemonium in there. One bloke has to be chucked out. He was threatening one of the girls behind the bar. He was saying, "Put the sound on now!" Talking like that to her. Anyway, the doorman shoved him out the door in the end, so that was the end of that. So that was quite funny, that. Well, a little bit of a situation, but we sorted it, didn't we? We sorted it. Yes. Got to calm people down. Calm people down. Are you calm today? I hope you're not too calm. Now, Yannick says, "Hi Chris, I'm not sure if you remember me. I'm Yannick from Germany." Yeah, of course I remember you, Yannick. "Since I came across your show back in June, I haven't missed a show. It cheers me up and your voice has become very familiar to me. You sound like a close mate, although we've never met each other." Yes, but we have the emails, Yannick. We have the emails. "I'm going to come to London at the end of December and I'm staying over in the new year. We've got a nice cottage in Camden town, and I can't wait." Where is there cottages in Camden then? I thought it was all high-rise and council-type accommodation. Is there a little... Surely you haven't got a cottage. Where is that? What road's it on? Can you tell me? "I might even pop into one of the pubs you work in. Your Hoover actually sounds like an old tumble dryer." I beg your pardon. What, my new Dyson sounds like an old tumble dryer? What a cheek, dear. Lot of money that cost. Doesn't sound like an old tumble dryer, does it? It's a liberty, that's what it is, dear. He says, "There's no need to boast about it, but I know you can't start buying new gadgets because you love them." And that's from Yannick. No, incorrect, Yannick. "I only buy a new gadget when it is necessary, and the old Hoover had been repaired 3 times, and I thought it was time for a new one. I don't buy, and I've got to buy a new sound. The compressor's gone wrong up there that I record the video sound with. I've got to buy a new one of those, but I need to do that because that one's broken. If you tap it, it all goes wonky. But then again, I am a wonky person, Yannick. Now, Yannick, if you do come to London, you are coming. When you come to London, try and make it to Hammersmith on a Monday or a Saturday. I think they're the ones that will suit you. Are you a straight? I think you're a straight boy, aren't you? And how old are you? I can't remember now. Oh, if you're a straight boy, then you want to come to Bushy's bar in Hammersmith and you'll enjoy it there, okay? Thank you, Yannick, and keep in contact with my nephew. You keep an eye on him because you're a little bit older, aren't you? Right. How are we doing here? Now, let me see. Okay. Now, the email address to the show, once again, is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Right, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. We know winter is here now, and last week I saw for the first time a little robin redbreast. It was tweeting away, it was. Tweet, tweet, tweet on someone's fence just across from there. And I'm very sure that my cats were watching the little robin redbreast singing away. Apparently they're quite arrogant robins, aren't they? Do you like wildlife? I'll tell you another thing I've seen recently a lot here, going up and down the trees near me, grey squirrels. I'm sure there are more than there usually are. I love their bushy tails, don't you? Grey squirrels. Yes. I'm waiting for a couple of them to die, and I'm going to have them turned into slippers. Although I'm not sure I'll get my fat feet in there. Oh, and I did do a little bit of car maintenance this week. After the story about the tyres, I decided it was time to manually wash my car. People are always so shocked when I say that. I don't know why. Why don't you put it through a car wash, they say. That's £5 in a car wash, dear. £5. It's a lot of money. We've got to save the money, dear. And no, the heating is not on yet, just in case you're wondering. Right. Now, I'm going to move on to this email now from Matty in Tasmania. Can I just give you the email address once? Did I give you the email address a minute ago? Chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. There is also a postal address, which I'm going to give you in a few minutes' time. Okay, get ready for that postal address. Now, Matty has a dream of emigrating here to the UK. Over the last 3 months, we've got an awful lot of emails, some which I've read out on the show, and some which have been private to me, but not personal. Just I felt that we can't keep doing the same subject time and time again. So he sometimes writes to me and asks things about the UK, and he also now writes to Ross P, I believe, and asks him about things in the UK, and also Suko. Now, Matty, I'm going to read this rather long email from you asking many, many questions, once again, about emigrating to the UK. I'll comment on it as honestly as I can and as helpfully as I can. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think. All right? And after this, we're going to close the door on the whole immigration subject, all right? Because it has gone on a little bit, and it's time to move on, okay? Feel free, of course, as always, Matty, to write in about any of the other subjects in the show, but this is going to be a closing thing. So I've given you a good half hour for this time, okay? Something that I rarely do. It's difficult to give one person such a long period of time in just a few 3 1-hour shows each week. But in this case, this last immigration email, and after this, I'm not going to respond to any more of the immigration questions, all right? Because we've got so much more to do, my darling. Right, here we go then. My thinking thoughts. Just thinking, was wondering where is a cheap place that will do to live around London to rent. Ross told me to come to you because you are a landlord. Well, that's right, I am a landlord. When my mum and dad died, I invested their money in property. You say cheap. Now, the cheapest way to do it would be to move into a hostel. You can probably get a hostel room for about £18 a night. Okay, now I've got my calculator here today. I've done a lot of thinking about this email. And I just want you to get into perspective what £18 a night is. Right? Now, when I say a hostel, this means you will be sharing a room with other people. It's something that I couldn't do, Matty. You may not be able to do it too. However, it is the cheapest way, and you say here, what is the cheapest way? It would be the cheapest way to live in London. Okay? You would probably share this room with 4 other people. You won't know who those people are. I don't know how safe hostels are. Maybe there's someone watching the show now who has spent time in a hostel. Is your stuff safe? You know, you probably have a case of clothes and money and things like that. I don't know where you would leave that. I don't have experience in that. But £18 a night. Now, the Australian dollar is about 3 to the pound, approximately. Goes up and down a bit. So that is in Australian dollars, $54 per night. Okay? Are we starting to get this into perspective now? At the other end of the scale, a 1-bedroomed flat where I live, in Bracknell, for example, will cost you £650 a month. That is 1,950 Australian dollars. Now, we've all said to you before so many times that it is very expensive to live here in the UK. I hope that by the end of this show, you will come to understand just exactly how expensive and how hard it is for many people, many English people, to live and make ends meet. Now, that's just outside London. You mentioned Windsor. Well, let me tell you, you will be paying more than that in Windsor. I would guess in Windsor you'd be paying for a room, perhaps in someone's house, if you could get that. I don't know how many there are available. I don't think there's that many. But if you wanted a room in someone's house in Windsor, I would say you'd pay £150 a week. So that's about £600 a month. So that's $1,800 just for 1 month. That's Australian dollars, okay? Any Americans listening or watching the show, of course, you are 2 to 1. All right? Australia is 3 to 1. Living in London, just sort of on the around the outside of central London, would cost you about £200 for a room, not a flat, for a room per week. Okay? So it's 200 times 4, so that's £800 a month. To rent a room in London will cost you, in Australian dollars, $2,400 a month. Norwich, because I know you were showing also an interest in the east side of the country. Norwich would be, I would guess, comparable to the prices where I live. So once again, you'd be looking at, for a 1-bedroom flat, £650 a month, $1,950. If you just wanted a room in someone's house, it would cost you probably about £150 a week. So that's £600 a month, $1,800. All right. Matthew says, did he also say you used to be a pilot? No. I think Ross has got that a bit wrong. I know where he's coming from, Ross, there. I only once ever, flew a little 2-seater Cessna plane. I'm not a qualified pilot, okay? Just to let you know that. He says, I know I'm trying to start things and work my way up onto things to get to the UK, like cooking, learning to cook. If I can cook, I can live by myself. Well, yes, you can. Other reasons I want to go to the UK is that my family lives over there. Well, if you have family here, why on earth aren't you going to them to ask if you can stay with them? He says, I know it's expensive and everything is on tax and food and expenses cost too much. Food. Okay, let's take, for example, a loaf of bread. A loaf of bread will cost you about £1.20. So that would be $3.60. Okay? Give you a rough idea of the food. All I have to know is where to buy some things to get things like yourself. I probably would never buy something I wouldn't know how to operate. For example, a vacuum cleaner. I also don't like things too complicated, and also other things. I also want to work on getting my learner licence to drive a car in the future. Now, I don't quite understand what you're saying here. You find a vacuum cleaner too complicated to work, and yet you want to learn to drive a car. You see what I'm saying? I don't see how you're going to be able to drive a car if you can't operate a vacuum cleaner. How does that work? He says, the whole of the UK has a network of trains to Europe. Yes, it does. We have, I would say, a relatively good train system now here in the UK. It never used to be. I think it's a lot better now. But it is expensive, Matty. If I want to travel to London by train here from Bracknell, it will cost me on a day return £12. That's $36 to get to and from London, Australian dollars. £12, $36. I'm also thinking a car in the future too. Well, as I say, if you can't work a vacuum cleaner, I don't see how you're going to learn to drive. You know, there's nothing wrong with not being able to drive. Some people can do certain things, and some people can do other things. I certainly cannot draw. I cannot draw a picture to save my life. I'm not very artistic. If I was artistic, those of you watching on YouTube, all the stuff behind me here, I would have like pictures and things, but I don't know how something should look. That's not within me to do that. I do talking and I do music. I do gardening. These are things I can do. I can't do DIY. And if you can't drive, you see, I don't see how you're going to learn to drive if you can't learn to use a vacuum cleaner. He says, at the moment, I'm thinking what jobs I could do, e.g. like act and airport and tourism. Okay, fair enough. I'm basically looking for something with a good paid job, and I know jobs are going. Jobs are disappearing here in the UK, but it does go up and down. Yes, that's quite correct. Possibly by the time that you think you're going to come here, more jobs will be available. He says, not some job that is £10 an hour, something more like £1,000 an hour. Now, you're living in Cloud Cuckoo Land now. What planet are you on? Where do you think you are going to get £1,000 an hour? Nowhere. And I'll tell you something else. Where do you think you're going to get £10 an hour? Now, there is someone else who listens to this show who wrote in. He has a reasonably good job and he is paid £6.88 an hour, Matty. £6.88 an hour. Do you really think you're going to come here straight away and go on more than £10 an hour? It's not going to happen. I'm sorry, I'm going to be very straight with this show today. You've got to learn this, all right? I'm telling you how it is. You can't close your eyes and pretend it's not like this, because it is. You are not going to get anything that is £10 an hour. Bar staff that work with me in pubs are on £6.70 an hour or something like that, something close to that. Don't ask me how they manage to survive, because I don't know. A lot of them live in the pubs. They get a job in a pub, they get accommodation provided, which is usually not all that. And they're on extremely low wages. If you come here to the UK, I very much doubt that you will get more than £6.50 an hour, whatever you're doing. Now work out how on earth you're going to pay the rent and what have you for that. All right? We continue. My family live in Holt in Norfolk, and I think in Somerset. Now, you say there, you think some of them live in Somerset. I have to tell you, Somerset is a beautiful part of the UK. Most of it is farmland. I think I'm correct there. I'm not sure if there's anyone who lives in Somerset listening or watching the show. Somerset is very beautiful. It is an area that I would like to live, actually. But, unfortunately, it's even further away from my sister and her family. And, of course, being down the south of the country, it's a little bit warmer than the rest of it. So, yes, that's a nice place to live. But you've also got some family in Holt in Norfolk. My question there to you is, have you kept in contact with them over the years? Again, earlier on I said to you, if you've got family, they should be your first stop. Can you stay with them? But if you've never kept in contact with them, how can you then go to them and say, can I come and stay with you? You see? Bit difficult. My mum was born in Kingston, London. Yes, I know Kingston very well. It was very close. That was our main shopping centre when I lived in Roehampton, which is just up the road from Kingston. And we were always going down to fantastic shops in Kingston. I'm thinking, before I get to the UK, is knowing how much should I save. Basically, I'm in a rush to do these things. There is no quick way. You keep emailing me and other people asking me how you can make money quickly. There is no quick way to do this. Not only is there no quick way to do this, but you've got to save an awful lot if you're coming. I'm not 100% sure about what it would be like to live in Windsor. Very expensive. Don't even think about it. You cannot afford Windsor, okay? Simple as that. You cannot afford Windsor. Windsor is on par with Hampstead, which I know you know about already, in North London, and Richmond and places like that. You will not be able to afford to live in Windsor, okay? But it depends how much money I've saved and what good job I am doing, etc. Well, you don't have a job, do you? You see, so you can't really work that out yet. If I get a good job, I can also save money when at the time I'm working in the UK and then keep working and saving. Well, you see, that's the thing. If you're renting somewhere, it's also very hard to save. That's why I stayed with my mum. I was lucky and I stayed with mum and dad for a long time. But you see, it's much easier for me because I'm already here. Therefore, my scale of wages at the time was comparable with the price of the housing here. Where you are now in Australia, the comparison is much different. Your wages are here, and if you was to buy a house in Australia, the house prices are comparable to the amount of money that you're earning, okay? I'm sure that over time, you would save enough money to purchase a house in Australia. I remember you telling me how much you think you were going to save up. It seems to me that you would have a very nice place in Australia. Here, I just don't see you buying a house here. You save all that money. The moment you come over, the moment you step off the plane, you will be paying out and you won't have a job yet. But I may have to rent a cheap place before I can get something bigger. If you are lucky enough to find a cheap place, it will be a very, very, very long time before you can move up the scale. He says, like a house. Well, it took me 7 years to move from a flat to a house, but I was lucky. I was lucky because at the time, the councils gave big discounts to children of people that lived in a specific area. So I was able to buy my flat in the same area that my mum and dad lived for a cheap price. You see, and that got me on the ladder, and that's why I'm able to have a house now. You don't have that advantage because you don't live here yet. Okay? He says, that would be my dream, to get my own house after the years I have worked. You're working now, Matty. You're working in Australia. The system in Australia is same as the system set up here, so that people with reasonably good jobs can afford to buy a house in the country that they're already living in. But like I said a moment ago, because you're living there, your wages are reasonably low, whereas our wages here in the UK are reasonably high, so the price of the houses are much higher. And there's a big gap. It's a very big gap. I don't see how you're going to do this. I told you I would be honest, okay? Basically, I'm looking for somewhere cheaper to live when in time so I can save a little bit of money so I can get my ideal dream house. Like, I know a house costs a lot of money, but I'm thinking maybe to build mine. Build yours. What, yourself? Again, here in the UK, I know it's different in Australia, but people don't have houses. Rarely they have houses built for them. They are built and then you go and see what one you want. It's a little bit different, that. I know in Australia, you choose your house from a catalogue, don't you? I've seen that. He says, I know the UK is crowded on land. Why is everyone getting ripped off by electricity and gas in the UK? It's expensive. That's the way it is. Right. Now, let me move down a little bit. I'm saving at least $100 a week or more. I get paid $130 a week, but trying to make it out to save as much as I can. Right. This is the thing, Matty. You tell me you're saving $100 a week. Do you know how much that is in English money? £33. It won't even get you 2 nights in a hostel. Do you see where I'm coming from here? I know it sounds a lot of money. In Australia, $100 a week is a lot of money. But here in the UK, it's only about 33 quid. It's nothing. I've nearly got $2,000 saved, but my goal might be October 2010. I should have about £10,400 in 104 weeks' time, counting from now. Well, $10,400 is about £3,500. You will be lucky if you can get that to last 3 months. Okay? I'm thinking that would be enough money for me to get settled when I'm working at a good job. Yes, okay. And that when I'm working, then I will be getting paid. As long as I'm getting money coming in, I should be okay. As that I am eligible to work there without immigration control. But you don't have a job here yet. I'm thinking, how much should I need to get a rough idea if I get a rented apartment? Well, a deposit on a 1-bedroom flat would cost you about £1,000, $3,000. That's just the deposit. All right? I went into the prices of places to rent a little earlier on this email. At the moment, I'm learning to cook. Very good. So you can look after yourself. Excellent. I don't want to buy clothes off eBay or clothes that look from a rubbish dump. I would never buy clothes off eBay. Well, I don't know why I do. What's the problem with that? Not what Chris does. Yeah, there's no problem buying clothes off eBay. Save money. Also, I'm into fancy things. I like the sound of fancy food. Once when I live alone and I cook anything, I want to buy anything I want. I like expensive clothes. Oh, you do you? How much do you think expensive clothes are here? All right. One of my managers buys shirts, £100 for one shirt, $300 for one shirt. So that's 3 weeks of your savings for one shirt. I like the stuff they wear at Ascot horse race and normal clothes, everything rich and nice and last a long time. I would never buy anything from eBay or any recycled clothes shops. No thanks, not for me. Take care from Matty. There's nothing wrong with buying cheap clothes, I don't think, from eBay or anything like that. Especially, as you say, you're trying to save money. All right? There's your email. There's my answers. I personally think that at some point you will have the money to come here. I do believe that. However, after being here a short while, I think you will be extremely disillusioned. I think you will run out of money very quickly, and then what are you going to do? One thing I would say, if you do it, if you do get here, you must have enough money sitting in your bank account to get you back home. All right? So I think at some point you will collect the money to get here. I think you will have immense difficulty getting a job. We have people here in the UK who can't get jobs at the moment. They may say that you have the same rights as anyone here in the UK. I'm not so sure of that. If people here in the UK can't get jobs, who do you think they're going to give the jobs to first? Now, there's all sorts of laws saying you have to give everyone the same opportunity. But in reality, does that happen? I don't see you getting a job. And I think you're going to have an enormous difficulty finding somewhere to live. If family can help, then all great. But if you haven't kept in contact with them, again, I'm not quite sure how you would go about asking family to stay. Have they ever met you even? It would be just like having a stranger coming, wasn't it? All right? So your dream is there, and as I've said before, and Ross has said before to you, we recommend, first of all, you come for a long holiday. Find out about the place. But there is little bits of information in that I have given you, and I've tried to help you, and Ross has as well. And you just continue to go on about the whole emigrating thing. So if you don't listen to what we reply to your answers, and then you just go on your own thing, and so what's the point of us saying anything, really, you know? Matty, I hope that helps you. And I'd like to close the door now on the immigration questions and what have you. We hope, both of us hope, I think we've done a lot to try and assist you in this. There's some interesting information for you there, but you're saving $100 a week, £33 that is. It's nothing. Believe me, it's nothing. I could spend £33 now down the supermarket just like that. Just buying food, nothing special. It's nothing. The problem is the level of money, the wages between Australia and the UK, completely different levels. Right, we'll close the door on that immigration thing, Matty. All right, hope we've been able to help you. Oh, you said what was devious? Oh, that's when you do something kind of underhand a bit. Like, I'm going to deviously turn all the lights out tonight before I get to work so that when they turn it on, they find something's wrong. It's been a bit devious, or doing things behind people's backs. Okay, that's devious. Time for me to go now, boys and girls. Thank you very much for joining us. We've done a lot on that immigration, but we're going to close the door on that one now. Some other emails, one from Petri here that we're going to on the next show. Do join in by email. It's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Thanks for watching this. From myself, Chris Reardon. Bye-bye now.